Hello everybody, and welcome to the next installment of the Tech2Data video training series. Today we are going to be looking at how to add locations to use in orientation classes and academic classes. When you have a new location that you're going to be offering services at that you have not used previously, they need to be added to the database so that they will be available in the drop-down menu of the orientation class setup or the academic class setup. To add a new location, you go to Admin on the red toolbar and Locations. This is going to bring up a detail of the first location that is in the database, but we're going to skip over to List. Now the list shows us a list of all of the locations that are in the database. But for our purposes, we are going to look only at Roane State's, and I'm going to look at all of the locations they have set up in Roane County. So I would enter in the partner institution, the county, and hit Filter. This will bring up a list of all of the locations available currently in the database for Roane State Community College Tech site. As we look at this, you can see that they have one location set up for orientation, and they have 4 locations set up for academic support. And we can tell this by looking at the location type. The other thing I want to draw your attention to is these first two, and we can see that they are identical, the same thing. The difference being one is set up as an orientation and the other is set up as an academic class. Locations cannot share references between orientations and academic class. Each one must have an individual location set up for it. So, in looking at what our choices are here, let's talk about the roles. We see the first one is Siglum. This is signifying the partner Tech2 site, in this case Roane State Community College. The county that the location is in, the name of the location, contact name, that would be the director or contact person at that location, a contact phone number, and the location type. And the location type would either be orientation or class. So if I wanted to add a new location, let's say that Roane State is going to have an orientation at some place other than where they historically have orientations on campus. To do this, I would click Add. Once I clicked Add, I would go in and I would fill in the information. Do note that required fields are in red, and although contact and phone is not in red, it is important to recognize that this may be the best way to get in touch with the site if you were not in your office and didn't have access to that information. So I would highly encourage you to put in the contact person and the phone number. So you would fill in all this information, remembering once again your type would be either class or orientation, and your partner is going to be the partner site that is setting up the orientation. Once you have the information in, you would click Save. So going back to this information, let's say that I had this orientation and I recognized that I hadn't put in a contact person. Well, once I had that contact person, I could then just click Save, and it would save this to the detail. And I did that just by clicking on the detail button right here. The other thing I want to talk about is when you are setting a location up for an academic class. Remember in the prior video when we were talking about setting up an academic class that we had institution, which was the partner, which is the same here except it says Siglum. So this is the partner. And then we talked about how the first set of letters, the first set of Siglum letters was the institution of credit, and the second part designated the actual location. And you can see that very well here with RSCC as the institution of credit, main campus being the location, RSCC being the institution of credit, and the Tamke Allen Center being the actual physical location. So that's very important to remember. The last point I want to make is, let's say, as we had happen recently, that we do a little bit of switching and we move some counties around and assign them to a different partner site. When this happens, you must set up new locations for any orientations that you offered. So in this instance, say that Chattanooga now is responsible for Roane County. It's not going to happen, but let's just say it did. Chattanooga, even though they wanted to have those orientations at RSCC main campus, would still need to go in and set up a new location with the siglum being Chattanooga State Community College. Do not change the old one, because then that messes up the record for every other student who was tied to that. So it is imperative you set up new locations for your orientation and your academic classes if you have a new county service area. So that location may have been used in the past by one of the sister sites, but we would still need to set up a new one. So I hope this shows you a really good overview of how to set locations up on the database. If you have any questions, as always, please always feel free to call me and ask, and I will be glad to answer your questions. You guys have a nice day.